What's going on, Sagittarius? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a great week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, your shares. You're keeping this guy coming back and keeping this channel growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy your higher self has brought you here. You are in for an amazing journey. Now, what I'm going to be doing this week is a tarot card reading for the week of November 13th through the 19th. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, okay? So, that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems are all excited to see you. We're about ready to rock and roll. Now I'm going to be pulling 15 cards. They're going to be in 5 groups of 3. The middle group is going to represent the nature of your problem. The upper left and upper right hand corners are going to be some future options that we're going to play around with. The bottom left is going to be some perspectives you might want to consider in relationship to the nature of the problem. And then finally, the bottom right will be whatever messages your higher self would like you to know. And in case you all were curious, I'm using Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck. The imagery on these cards are really cool, so I'll make sure to show you those all throughout. And I've included a link in the description box below if you wanted to get your own deck, so definitely check that out. But without further ado, higher self, what do we have in store for Sagittarius this week? Let me get your cards pulled, and then we will get to it. Nice. Love that good old, ooh, this is lovely. I am with this, Sagittarius. You brought it. Okay, bam. Oops. 2, bam, and bam. All right. Set that there. Let me get these cards a little straightened up and then kind of sit with them and we'll get started. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right, I think I'm with it, Sagittarius. Let's do this thing. So, for the nature of your problem this week, pulled the 4 of Cups here. And then the cards that came along with it are the Sun and the 9 of Cups. So, this is very interesting, Sagittarius, because with the 4 of Cups being the nature of your problem, I feel like we're not, I'm either feeling like either there's some, overall, I feel like your energy is good, but I feel like there's something underneath there's something that we're not quite ignoring. You know, I feel like it's like that little voice in the back of your head could be usually like some kind of stress, something, maybe we got something creeping up, you know, like bills, maybe you got a promotion coming up, but I feel like there's something going on that's kind of interfering with this happiness here, because overall the Sun and the 9 of Cups, I mean, that's win right there. Look at that. I'm even speechless by how that is. That's awesome. But I do feel like with this popping up, because the 4 of Cups can represent the seeds of decay in the fruits of pleasure. That, or there's like anxiety in your fun, because it's interesting. I'm wondering if it's because you don't. I wonder if we're distracting ourselves with happiness and with this Sun, because this is a very strange reading for this to be the nature of your problem. I feel like overall with this Sun and the 9 of Cups, I feel like things are okay, but there's something here that's really that's interfering with this. I feel like you're not getting the most out of this, because the Sun is a card of glory, a card of brilliance, a card of happiness, triumph. But if I had to look on and this is going to be a first, but if I had to look on the negative sides of the Sun, maybe this has to deal with, maybe this is something that you're presenting yourself. You're portraying this image that everything is full of sun, everything is all happy, all together. but behind the scenes, something's a brewing here. Because if you look even at the Four of Cups, usually the cups are, I love all the cups usually, but the cups have to deal with emotional matters. And when the cups are usually all kind of, the more positive side of the cups are kind of like uplifting and bright and, you know, all pretty. And you see, like, this cup is all nice, it has those things, but got a gray sky. Something's coming on the horizon. This is like pretending to I feel like a disturbance coming. Even the waters are starting to get a little choppy. Things are starting to shake up here. So I'm wondering if this is something that you're just trying to put on this front. You know, maybe that you know, that everything is fine, but everything might not be fine. Because you know what? The one thing with let's talk about the Nine of Cups, because the Nine of Cups is another card of happiness, another card of joy, of bliss, of just like emotional fulfillment. But I feel like with, and again, look at that, we're going to bring out, that's so funny. I was just thinking about talking about some of the more, how I focus on the positive sides of these cards all the time, but I haven't had a situation where the negatives come out. So thank you for that, Sagittarius 1. But also, I'm with you, because I'm not saying thank you like, oh, look at this problem that you gave me. But it does help me kind of see things from a different view, because sometimes the happiness may not be what it appears to be. Because sometimes with this Nine of Cups, this could be a card of overindulgence, a card of excess. So maybe we're even trying to, it's like one of those things where we're really kind of doubling down. You don't want anybody to see whatever storm is brewing behind here. So we might even be just like, even like spending something excessively, or just like really, I'm feeling a lot of just like pouring this in to really try to build this perfect picture, so that everyone's just like, oh, Sagittarius is doing great, but you're like, and you know what? Let's talk about some future stuff here, because this is going to let's play around in this here, because this is in which, you know what? If this is the case, that's interesting. Because over here in the future, you have the Nine of Swords here, you have the Lovers, and then you have the Seven of Cups. So now we're starting to, we're starting to unfold this picture a little bit. Because with the Nine of Swords is, well, honestly, it's a pretty kind of heavy card. You know, this is some head stuff going on here. It's very kind of malicious, very cruel, very just kind of dark, and just not a kind of like a defeat. Is sort of like bringing your self-esteem down type of energy. Because it's like you start with this one sword here, and maybe you've been ignoring it. You've been painting this. You've been taking, for every sword that you got, you tried to take a cup and paint it. And I feel like it's not even like you're, because normally when I get cards like this, and if you're in this place where you're not telling yourself kind things, my usual remedy would be, it's like, okay, whenever you have a negative thought, you know, match it with a positive thought so that we're balancing out. But I feel like with this, there's not that balancing going on. I feel like there's this covering. It's like, okay, when this pops up, you know what, we're just going to distract ourselves with the Nine of Cups, and then we're going to do that thing. And look at that. You got one cup for every sword, and now I feel like we haven't been addressing this like we should, and these things are starting to fester. And then you got the Lovers here. A lot of contradictory energy here, Sagittarius. Because with the Lovers, this is a card of like imagination, intuition, love, obviously, but there's could be a card too of kind of on the negative side. It could be a card of indecision, a card of infatuation, and I feel like infatuation in the sense of like, you're kind of liking these sort of things. These things are pretty, but they're not. They're just like, they're superficial. If that makes sense. I feel like there is. However, we're dealing with this Nine of Swords and Seven of Cups energy. I feel like we're just putting Band-Aids on them. We're not really addressing the source of the problem like we should. And then look what happens. Now our storm that was a brewing here, it's become a whole mess. And now it's bled into our ocean. It's spoiled our cups, because the Seven of Cups is about a card of overindulgence, a card of debauchery, card of intoxication, of deceit. And I feel like not that you. And listen, you're in a safe space here. I would not call you a liar. But maybe, I feel like we're just telling ourselves these deceptions, where if someone says, oh, Sagittarius, how's it going? How's it hanging? Oh, I'm great. Everything's fine. don't even worry about it. And I'm just wondering if it's because, maybe it's, and I feel like, just part of the way maybe being that fire sign, you're real, I feel like you're really, and I say proud in the most positive way. I feel like you're uplifting. I feel like you're the one that usually people come to get uplifted. But when you're not in the best space, you don't want people to see you in this sort of like vulnerable state, if you will. And you know what? That's kind of leads me perfectly over to here, to this left-hand side here, because you have the Prince of Disc, the Ten of Wands, and the Prince of Cups. Now, with the princes, you don't have any queens here, but with the princes, this could, they can represent people as well, so kind of transcend. I'd like to think that they represent you, but if these energies are resonating with other people in your lives, definitely, take it as it resonates. But I feel like either you or someone here, someone in your sphere has, I feel like you're trying to just like kind of tough it out. Maybe we've been like, oh, this will pass with time. we're not gonna worry about it, because normally the Prince of Cups, I feel like I'm getting more of his stubborn energy here, because normally he's my card of like patience. If you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But I'm feeling more so here as stubbornness here, and this is one of Taurus's cards. And I feel like we're being stubborn in the sense of that we're not wanting to face this, to not wanting to feel that. And you know what? That's going to be, before I even talk about this Ten of Wands, I want to talk about the Prince of Cups. Because I feel like this one is more so kind of applying to you in this instance, if this is resonating with you. Or you could have someone too who might be feeling this thing, maybe someone close in your life who you feel like is just putting on a close, or, putting on a facade and not really opening up to you. But either way, the Prince of Cups is about that kind of keeping things bottled up. On the surface, everything is calm, everything is pretty, everything is, we're Gucci. But you look back here, I like to talk about these clouds back here, and I feel like that's all of that steam and stuff, that stuff that's boiling up underneath. I feel like that's one of those things, he's ignoring it, and those things are starting to fester. He's trying to look, everything looks on at a glance, hey, he looks great. Look at his ego. Look at that chair. He even brought a flower for you. But superficial stuff is what I'm feeling. And listen, I don't know if you've had the sun with me, but I love the sun. So the fact that I've even labeled this stuff here is like, I feel you, Sagittarius. And listen, I get it. There are times, and because I'm a Cancer, and so we're looked at as a nurturer. So we're constantly, we want to make sure we're taking care of others, but we have a hard time being taken care of, if that makes sense. So listen, I totally understand that, but you remember how I was talking about how things are going to be boiling up to the surface here? That's what Ten of Wands does. Ten of Wands is a card of keeping things, it's a card of oppression, repression. It's fire in its most destructive aspect. And this is one of your cards. This is Saturn in Sagittarius. So I really feel like this is kind of calling upon you to, you got to face this. It's one of those things you've done great up until now. And, as far as like maybe keeping it together, and kind of keeping that strong, keeping that strength. But the thing is, you're allowed to feel too. If you're not feeling 100%, that's totally okay. These feelings, they wax and wane all of the time. But I will say, if you're not dealing with it, that's how we get to this Ten of Wands place, where eventually, and we may not even be there yet, but it's one of those things. If you let this stuff sit and fester, it becomes this insurmountable monster, or at least that's what it can come across if we're not dealing with it. So I just say, with this energy, allow yourself to feel some of this. I'm not saying you have to tackle this all in a day, but it's one of those things. You brought this energy to me. I've seen it. You've seen it. Let's address it. Let's start taking some steps towards some healing. And I feel like that's going to make it so that this stuff here isn't superficial. So you don't have to, fake this. You don't have to pretend that everything is all happy, because I like the intention here, as far as like wanting to kind of address this thing with positivity. But the thing sometimes with that is that positivity can be a Band-Aid. And if you're not putting actions into it as well, it doesn't mean anything. It's going to, It's going to sully all your cups. And we don't want that. So, yeah, I feel like take this time and really address this thing. And you know, while you're addressing it, it takes a lot to deal with this. Whatever this is, I feel like and take it as it resonates. I feel like it hasn't quite blown up yet, per se. Like as far as it becomes like a tower moment or a hanged man or anything along those lines. But I am seeing just like these warning signs here of just like, if we let this sit, it's not going to be, you know, we're going to, the journey's just, the wisdom we're going to attain from this is just going to be, just going to take that much longer. But let's move to some perspectives to consider, because you got over here the Seven of Swords, the Six of Disc, and the Lust card. Now, with the Seven of Swords, I feel like while you're dealing with this, energy, just make sure that we're getting some rest in between, because this is one of my, this is kind of like my burnout card here. And it's like and you know what? This could be too what's going on. Maybe we're ignoring some issues as far as like, because think of you as this main sword here, and think of these other little swords as like problems that we're trying to ignore. On the surface, like, you know, if we tackle these things one at a time, you got this. Look, they can't even hold a candle to you. But if we let these things build up and we know they start piling on. There's only 6 here, but remember, we had 9 we were working with. So you throw this, 3 more on top of that, that's going to be a lot to take on. So just make sure while you're dealing with these things, show some compassion for yourself. You know, give yourself that chance to take a break, give yourself some time to rest, because it is a lot to deal with. And I feel like that's going to get you to where we're getting back on track. We'll get to the Six of Disc here, where we're going to get that success. Because it's one thing with these cups. The cups have to deal with emotional matters. But with the disc, they have to deal with business matters. And I feel like with this, if your emotional state isn't in where it's supposed to be, then your finances, it starts to bleed into your world slowly. You sow the seeds of decay. You plant that one seed, and it's gonna take its time, but it is gonna grow. If you just ignore it, it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. So it's just, taking that time, and that's gonna get you to the success here. And it's gonna require some strength. It's gonna require a lot of strength, I feel like, to deal with this type of stuff here, because I get it. Having to be where you're vulnerable is not always ideal. But look at the Lust card here. She's not afraid. She's kind of bearing it all here, but she's proud of her strength. Their strength. She's not afraid to call upon for help. It's one of those things. And again, Sagittarius, I really am, despite there being the nature of your problem, I do love what you're bringing, because it's a different lens to think from. This is I like this. Because I feel like you're going to come into this to where you're going to feel okay to be vulnerable in this. There's strength in vulnerability, because there's going to be what comes from that is going to be a lot of compassion. And then when you're able to pick up on when someone else is doing that, you're going to be able to help them grow. Let's get to some higher self stuff here, because I do like this as well. Because you have the Ten of Swords here, which is upside down, the Knight of Disc, and the Four of Wands. Now with you're probably thinking, oh goodness, more mindfulness? No, I have good news. Yes, mindfulness, but this is like an end. The Ten of Swords, I really actually like the Ten of Swords, because this is like heralding the end of delusion. This is like we've seen it now. We've addressed this, whatever this, these distractions, these band-aids, they're faulty reasoning. They're not things that we're covering stuff up. So now I feel like, now that your higher self now that we've seen these things, now that we can finally start taking those steps. We can go out and get our stability again. We can start grounding, because the Knight of Disc, and depending on the directions that the Knight are facing, it could either be the coming to or going of energy. And I feel like with this, you're getting ready to go out and go and tackle life again from a grounded place. And then You'll see, because I really like the Knight of Discs too, because I love that of the knights, he's the only one that's kind of still. So this could be another thing too. Maybe we've been just kind of going, distracting ourselves, not dealing it. It's just time to just kind of take a moment and just stop for a second, ground ourselves, take this energy so that this sun is not superficial. Because look at this guy, this shield is radiating. And the nice thing too, this isn't a gender specific reading. So look at you knight. I love it. And then look what's going to happen when once we start getting grounded, getting back in that good place. We get to some rest. We get to completion, because the Four of Wands is about, knowledge bringing conclusions, coming to rest, getting to that finish line there, getting to a place where finally all of this, whatever this anxiety is, because I feel like it's just one of those things that's just those constant in the back of your head, and it's just been kind of buzzing, that's really what I'm kind of feeling with this. But I do feel like once we've acknowledged it and we start taking those steps to get there, that all of this is going to come to an end. You know what? Let's go ahead and switch back over. So, yeah, hopefully that made sense, because I get it where because I mean, if you've been following me so far, it's like if I had camera issues, speech issues, and those aren't really good examples, but okay, let's say like life stuff. You got life stuff here, and then you got to come here. You got to go to a place where you got to bring it, where you got to be uplifted, where you got to be on. And I get where you want to put that aside and not deal with this stuff, and that's fine. And in this place where you got to be on, absolutely be on. But when you have a chance and you're able to just turn off for a second, unplug, kind of just be for a second, deal with this. Deal with this at your pace, but definitely don't ignore this, because vulnerability is beautiful, it's powerful, and there's the depths of healing that can come from vulnerability. It's life-changing. So I just say keep an open mind when it comes to that, and I feel like over time we're gonna get right back on track, Sagittarius. So I hope that resonates with you. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, share, do all those YouTube things. And just for a better understanding of this, and to get you some more tools, acquire some more strengths while we're dealing with this, check your moon, check your rising. And this week how funny, I have mentioned this is, oh, here you are. We're checking our Saturn. So maybe the cause of this destructive thing could be in your Saturn. And not that there's anything going with Saturn, but I just feel like with any kind of tools that can kind of help us deal with these curveballs that are coming with life, that come with life, it's just going to make us all the more better. You know what else is going to make you better? The tools that I'm going to get you from Celestial News Weekly. That's what. Yeah, see, that was smooth. That's probably the smoothest one I've done so far, Sagittarius. So look at that. There's good things on the horizon. So just keep that in mind. I'm putting it out there. If you don't believe it, I'm putting it out there, because I have good vibes all around. Now, this news was written for you, Sagittarius, because guess what? There's going to be a party in Sagittarius. Venus is going to come in, and with Venus entering Sagittarius, this is a good time. The romantic energy gets a little bit lighter, and there's going to be an impetus to pursue a truth and a higher meaning in what we love. So this could be too maybe we've been painting this picture of everything being fine because we're just still trying to figure out what we love. So it could be, work with that energy as it makes sense. But yeah, that's one thing. That's what Venus entering Sagittarius is going to be about. And then also, while we're thinking about things that, thinking about the truth and higher meaning in what we love, we got the last quarter moon that's happened in the same day, and this is like harvesting time. This is kind of preparing those seeds for the next new moon. Getting some game plans in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a project. It could be, like a business thing, or like it can be investing in yourself. Planting seeds. How am I going to get to where I'm feeling in a better place? I feel like that's if you're everything else is all good shape, your money's all good, your resources are in line, absolutely take some time to focus on you too. It's a good time for it. Kind of get out, Oh, where'd you go? That we're ending that faulty reasoning. Oh, careful. Not you, the lust card trying to jump here. But it's the end of faulty reasoning. Out with the old, in with the sun. In with the sun. Let's put some positivity back in there. Yeah, because that was, I've never looked at the sun in a negative light. So this was, the sun's looking at me kind of funny. So we're just going to I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Next, there's going to be did I mention there's going to be a big party? Because Mercury's going to be joining Venus in Sagittarius. And this is a good time to philosophize, for passionate debates, and just really to kind of keep an open mind. So this could be a good time too. Did I say it's happening on the 17th? Because that's when it's happening. And could be a good time too to kind of discuss these things, that these concerns that you might be feeling, why you've been putting up this facade, what is that, kind of addressing that. And it could be also this could energy too, on a side note, can be a good time too for like some higher education. If we're teachers, just maybe it's just getting some learning, just getting out there and just like learning how to talk. That's the book that I'm going to be learning. But it's just like, a good time to like broaden your intelligence, really kind of just do that, just like expansive research. That's, I'm digging this energy, and I really might look up a sentence structure thing, because sometimes it's just like, what am I serving up here? Okay, let's do some aspects and then get your surprise card. The sun is going to be trine with Neptune. And with this energy, this is kind of a time that the light is kind of shined on our imagination and our spirituality. So this could be a time, because that's what the Lovers is about. So I feel like this is a good time maybe, and this is going to be kind of an abstract way to think about this, but this could be, because sometimes too with the Lovers, I like to think of it when it pops up, this is like your higher self kind of winking at you. Just letting you know that like, hey, I'm here. I see this, I got you. Your higher self always got you. So I feel like this is a good time maybe just to kind of even get back in touch. Maybe if meditation is your thing, maybe going for a walk, maybe anything to just kind of clear your head and just kind of get back in touch with you. In all that means. This is, I feel like this is a good energy for that. And some good crystals to work with that to kind of help assist this energy along is a good old sunstone, and then celestite is another one that's good to work with. Next, Mercury is conjunct with Venus, so look at that. They came to the party in a good mood, and we got our how we are talking is a little bit differently. Our approach to life becomes a little more debonair, kind of smooth, real suave. It's the conversations just get a little more sensual with Venus conjunct with Mercury. There's going to be possibly conversations like art, romance, finances, just all of those kind of anything like aesthetics. And this could be a good time too for like negotiations, for collaborations, just because the energy is feeling, it's more receptive energy. So I say definitely take advantage of that as you can. And some good crystals to work with that are good old quartz here, and then some opal as well. 2 friends that I need to make. Lastly, Mars is going to be squared with Jupiter. And with that happening, it's very much, oh, he's not here, but one of your cards, Knight of Wands. It's very Knight of Wands energy. You'll feel like you have all this energy to move mountains. But just like I mentioned with the Knight of Wands, my only caveat with that is, making sure to go with intention. That we're making sure that our emotional state is in a good place before we're going out. Because you saw what happens when we don't. Well, you probably can't see with that glare, but you saw what happens when we don't deal with these issues here. So. Yeah, definitely just kind of keep that in mind. If we're, if we're in that place, just make sure that we're checking in with ourselves. Is this good? Am I really excited about this? Is this where I want to invest all my energy? And then if all those are all lining up, you're raising your vibration, absolutely go for it. So. Yeah, hopefully that helps you out. Because this is this was a unique reading so far. I've not quite had a reading like this. So I personally enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy reveling in the nature of your problem, but I just enjoyed the fresh perspective that you brought me. So hopefully this helped you kind of, hopefully I've done for you what you've done for me, because it really is in the sense of like, I've kind of saw a lot of cards in a different light today. So I appreciate that. Let me get your surprise card and get you out of here. Nice. Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a card of that, I like this. This is kind of like a card of that passage from difficulties. You know, we've been in this, whatever this storm was, but I feel like we're getting ready to get through it, or at least we're getting ready to take the steps to get through it. And this could be also as well, very random, but it could be something maybe you need to just maybe kind of change sceneries up a little bit, because this could be Journey by Water as well. So maybe we're gonna plan on going on like a cruise soon. Maybe we're just gonna get on a boat. Maybe you just want to swim, get near some water. But this could, you know, I feel like with this energy, maybe that's something you just get into like a sort of like peaceful place, kind of a tranquil place, so that you can better sort of like address whatever this is. Because this is I feel like this is, whatever this is a very, something in the back of your head, very kind of sneaky nature of your problem here. So just, I feel like just when you can, take some time and relax, you know, just be. All right, I'm gonna stop throwing word salad, well, apparently not. Sagittarius, thank you for being here. Stay safe out there, and I will keep raising that vibration. I'm a hot mess. And I will catch you on the next one later.